And off we go. Well, let's go around this back to just zip through the cemetery real quick.
Perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm checking my car.
Are you parked in the cemetery?
Yeah.
Smart move. I always tell people just to park over here. I don't think you'd ever have a problem over there.
I've never seen a tow truck in the cemetery. That would be interesting.
Good point. Yeah.
But you're right. I've never heard anyone get towed over here.
I've seen people fixing cars over there all day long.
Like right this guy?
Yep.
Yeah, the AutoZone's right there. So.
Oh man, I've had a lot of bad days at that AutoZone.
Me too.
A lot of bad
Oh,
ones.
there's Kathleen. Gee, how can you tell?
She drinking a beer or coffee?
It looked like a coffee.
It's coffee.
All right, first stop, Hollywood Forever Cemetery for all of us ghouls.
We're going to go zip in the side door because they don't let tour buses in the front door. So we're going to zip around the Jewish section because it's a quieter side of town. And
Lana Turner is buried inside of that dome. I've never gotten to vlog that because every time I go, it's locked.
Yeah.
I've never been able to get in there.
I'm gonna interject for just a second. That's Lana Clarkson.
Or Lana Clarkson.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
Just so you know.
Sorry about that. You know how it goes. I got a lot of names in my head now.
I think one of
If
the
you've seen my vlogs with my friend Stefan, he knew her. He was good friends with Lana Clarkson. So she was a really sweet woman.
For those of you who don't know, Lana Clarkson was the one who was murdered in the foyer of Phil Spector's mansion in Alhambra. That's about 10 years now.
Yeah, his first, maybe even longer, but his first night, or quote unquote, saying his first night drinking again.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to sell his house now, or something's happening with it now. That
I don't know who's going to buy that thing.
Zach,
it's like Sunset Boulevard
Zach
over
Baggins.
there. Yeah,
Zach will buy it.
they'll buy anything. Are you guys not from Los Angeles, around this neighborhood? Anyone from out of town, out of state?
From Elk Grove.
Elk Grove?
Yeah, it's near Sacramento.
Okay. Otherwise, everyone's sort of local.
Bunch of locals.
I'm a transfer.
Have any of you guys been on one of Jordan's tours before?
Yeah,
No.
last January.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for not being bored the first time.
So all this area that you see here on our left, this is all sort of back area of the cemetery. This is where they keep like the maintenance vehicles, etc. But when everything goes to plan, they're going to be putting about another 20,000 graves in there, building from the ground up, outdoor mausoleums. So there's going to be some crazy, crazy building going in that cemetery very, very soon. And if you saw the movie, the Baby Jane remake with Jessica Lange.
Oh, Feud.
They show them pulling into this driveway as the studio.
Yeah. This entrance actually. Which is kind of interesting because on your right is Paramount. Literally right over the wall is Paramount. And then inside of here, in this mausoleum, Bugsy Siegel is buried. Or interred.
Didn't they film Rocky 3 in there?
Yeah, they did. They did.
So we're not allowed in here. That's why we're going to zip around real quick.
Yeah.
And if they bust us, we're out of here. But maybe not.
Don't
take
you
off
get
that
a
door.
pass by any chance that you're buried here, or you got a grave here, right?
I have a grave here, yeah.
So don't you get a pass of some kind?
Not with a tour bus.
Oh,
No.
bummer.
Yeah.
Where's your grave at?
Here's we're going to be coming upon the Judy Garland and Judy Garland and her family.
It's here on the
Plot.
left. We're going to zip through here and come back. Well, this guy's not standing there. But Judy, after 47 years in New York, was moved here about 2 years ago.
Basically, I think the story was that Liza Minnelli wanted to have more family buried near her, and there weren't enough plots where Judy was buried. So, where's this? Over here is Estelle Getty, and over here is where's Annabelle? Down this way.
Yeah, there's a gardening vehicle over there, so I'll go around this way.
Remember that guy standing is Mel Blanc.
A selfie with Mel Blanc.
So right over here is the great Mel Blanc, the man of 1,000 voices, and we interviewed his son, who was so great and told so many great stories about Mel. He was basically the voice of just about anything you can think of, and a workaholic. His son said he would hit sometimes 3 studios a day, never take lunches, and just loved what he did. Who can blame him? There's Estelle Getty from the Golden Girls, Sophia Petrillo, with a lot of stones over there. A lot of people come visit her.
Wow.
Throw Mama from the or not Throw Mama. Stop Her, My Mom Will Shoot with Stallone. That was another great one. It's crazy, for as much as they don't want me walking through here with a camera, they rent it out a lot to a lot of film productions. There's always filming going on in here.
It's a Paramount parking lot now back here. I mean, behind the mausoleum that was supposed to be this really ornate grave back in the our grave area, they've cleared it out and now it's all parking. That's all Paramount over there on the right. That's the work factory of Paramount Studios there on the right with the tin walls. That's the warehouse area where they build all the props and etc. But this cemetery used to be half the cemetery was Paramount Studios was cemetery.
When they show movies here or do concerts and things like that, they do it right here and they project it onto that wall. That's, if you saw my Johnny Ramone tribute, they do that every year. They projected Warriors up there, and then off to the side is where the band and all the VIP was and everything. And it's right next to, if you see these tall trees over here, on right beyond those that's Douglas Fairbanks and Douglas Fairbanks Jr.'s grave. You can see the...
We'll see it from the little bridge here. It's
Yeah.
a perfect site.
There's a bench up there where Madonna was at.
Oh, is that where it was?
And there's a cross over there too, where she was at.
So here we have the cenotaph of Johnny Ramone, which is an amazing memorial.
Yeah, he's actually in an urn on his wife's fireplace.
And then if you see there's a kind of a rose-colored stone over there, that's a cenotaph for Hattie McDaniel from Gone with the Wind. She was actually not allowed to be buried here because of her color. And when they offered the family to move her, they said, no, we don't want to move her, but they accepted a memorial here. And then...
There's the Fairbanks Pond.
yeah,
Right.
there you can see that. That's all Fairbanks.
People get married there all the time now. And then, oh, go ahead.
And then if you see there's a statue over here, 9 times out of 10, there's somebody sitting in a lawn chair with it. It's Anton Yelchin from Star Trek, it's his family. His mom and his dad sit out there almost all day.
Anton
every day.
was the guy that got crushed by his car a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Yeah,
Anton-
rolled back.
Yeah. So his mother and father are still here daily, and they maintain the grave.
Awful.
All right.
And then right over here, you'll see Mickey Rooney. I will never do a vlog on him because I've met 4 people that knew him and they all hated his guts and they all said he screwed them over bad.
He was a prick.
One of my friends' dad owned a motel and said that Mickey Rooney had all of his band, when he would travel out with a band, eat on there and say that Mickey was going to pay it, and then he'd stiff them. And he said the way he would get away with it is he would have his manager check him into the hotel, and since it wasn't Mickey signing the paper and checking him in, they couldn't bill him. So in here is Peter Lorre. Rudolph Valentino is interred here.
Peter
William-
Foxes, William Desmond Taylor.
William Desmond Taylor.
Larry from Bewitched, David White is here. Rick Jason from Combat is in here. Peter Finch from Network is in here. That's a
Lamar is there.
Who?
Barbara Lamar.
Barbara Lamar, you're right. The girl that was too beautiful. She's in
That's
there
right.
too.
And every year in August they do a memorial for Valentino, for the death of Valentino.
Now,
And the
just
woman
over-
in black always comes.
You see where that by the lake over there, the furthest there's that stone that has a Star of David on it, that sort of pink colored one. Just to the right of that are some dead shrubs that you see over there. You see them there? That's Valerie Harper. Now there's a bright red little bouquet there too, right now, or flower pot. You see what I'm talking about? But that she was just put there. She's not marked yet, but that's where Valerie Harper is buried. Now
Here
we're
we go.
Kicked out, yeah. Oh, he's a salesperson.
Yeah, say, just keep going. That's my motto: make no eye contact.
Totally.
The big mausoleum is Marion Davies, who was the mistress of William Randolph Hearst, but also hugely, she was a legitimate, very funny actress.
And very wealthy in her own right.
Very.
And to the left of her is Tyrone Power. if you know the author Charles Bukowski, he used to say he used to bring dates here because for him, he thought that was a great date, was to come and sit on Tyrone Power's grave and then go in and visit Valentino. And he would read books. Over here we have Holly Woodlawn from the Andy Warhol. Transsexual actress. How did she die?
Well, she was old and ill. But Lou Reed, Walk on the Wild Side. Holly came from Miami, FLA. That's Holly. And then a couple of doors down is Larry Drake, who
And
was.
and then Herb Jeffries right beside Larry Drake. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, Larry Drake was the guy from he was the guy from L.A. Law who played the one that was now they call it intellectually challenged. He was also Dr. Giggles in the horror movie, and I forget what his name was, but he won Emmys for being that guy on L.A. Law, Bernie or Bertie or something like that.
And then we're also going to be coming up. You can't really see it from here, but closer to the pond is where Virginia Rapé is buried, who was the one that died and was involved in the the Fatty Arbuckle scandal. They claimed that he had raped her and crushed her, ruined his entire life and career. Over here's Don Adams.
Yeah, you can see there's a plaque with him with his shoe phone on right in front of this angel to our left.
I was here right after he was buried, and they had a headstone. It was actually him. It was a statue of him with a shoe phone, and I don't know why they got rid of it and replaced it with that, but...
Here's Cecil B. DeMille on the left, the famous director for Paramount Studios, and when he was buried here, he had a clear view of Paramount Studios from his grave. So that's and right on the other side of him is his grandson Christopher Quinn. And Christopher Quinn, his daughter was married to Anthony Quinn. Christopher Quinn was 3 years old. He was visiting his father. Angelina Jolie has a house now up in Laughlin Park. And W.C. Fields lived across the street. W.C. Fields had a pond that he had model boats in. And little Christopher Quinn, who was 3, toddled across the road and fell into the pond and drowned. And Christopher Quinn is just on the other side of DeMille. So DeMille's own grandson. Let's see, we'll zip through here. I don't think it's one way.
No, we're good. So right here, this dark one next to Clarquist is Dee Dee Ramone from the Ramones, the bassist of the Ramones. Stefan was in his band, and he was just from everything Stefan said, he was just a nice, sweet guy.
Screwed up kid.
Yeah, just got hooked on drugs and had a weird upbringing. He was like kind of like a boy of the night for a while.
He was a hustler in New York, yeah.
And right next to him, or kind of behind him, is you'll see like an angel statue.
Just behind the mausoleum there, it should come into view. Or that tree with the ornaments on it. I think that's it. Right?
Yeah, where that tree with the ornaments. That was Betty Blowtorch, the singer Betty Blowtorch. That was really sad. She was really well known out here. They played a lot, and she was basically, she kicked drinking, and after a show one night, she'd had a fight with a couple of her band members and accepted a ride from a fan who was drunk, and she died in a drunk driving accident. Where's she at? Right over here where the little pumpkin is, on the ground to the left, is Vampira from the Ed Wood movies, and of course Vampira, her television series where she would play horror movies.
And then you got Darren McGavin right behind her.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't see his.
The tall one.
Oh, okay, yeah, that tall one. Darren McGavin, the dad from Christmas Story, and right behind him is Mr. Blackwell.
Good friend of Shelley's.
The fashion guru who used to just trash anyone that wasn't dressed to his standards.
In the middle is the grave of William Clark, who founded the LA Philharmonic. He's got a very long story involved with him, but he's basically in there with, I think, 2 of his 3 wives are in that mausoleum in the middle. They use that a lot in movies and television programs. They film a lot in here, as we were saying. I think the Kardashians actually let them in for one of their episodes. They've got these incredible mosaics on the roof of the inside of it, the ceiling of it.
Now, I believe it's right over here by this tree and the bench. Is that where it's at?
Yeah, right in front of the bench.
Fay Ray from King Kong. She's buried there. And somebody else I feel like was right over there by her. Can't think of who it is.
Oh, you know who we didn't show was Chris Cornell.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Slip over there
And we were
real
right
quick.
there. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were right there by Johnny Ramone.
The Cuts Memorial's right there. That was the next.
And one of the there's a cenotaph on that big mausoleum, the first of the three, for a guy that died on the Titanic.
They
Never found him.
I vlogged that. They believe that was part of his story is what they based the Jack character in Titanic, because he had a pocket watch. They found his pocket watch and stuff like that. So Chris Cornell's grave is right here.
On the left, immediately.
Yeah,
Down
you can
below.
see his photo down there. And when he first passed and they first had the ceremony, for a couple of weeks, they had like a guard here that
Still
wouldn't
do.
allow you to take photo, wouldn't allow you to
No.
do really anything. I'm not sure why, but of all. And then who was the guy that killed him? He's right here also.
Yeah, the guy that jumped off the San Pedro Bridge, and there's a producer.
Oh, Tony Scott.
Yeah.
Tony Scott.
That rock right there.
Yeah, that has like the guy climbing up it. You can kind of see on the other side, but
And this, there's Mickey Rooney's here, and then to the other side of him is a guy by the name of Dirk Schaefer. You can see the picture of him. He's about 5 up from the bottom. And Dirk Schaefer was a Playgirl Man of the Year that
Nice.
committed suicide or died of an accidental overdose. But that was 1981. He was Playgirl Playmate of the Year, and he made a documentary about it.
where? I didn't see Toto. Did they move Toto?
No, it was back there.
Oh, was he
it?
back
I
there?
couldn't see it. Maybe that car was in front of it or something.
But mine's in there. My grave's in there.
Oh, that's cool.
So you will be a stop on your own tour.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's my favorite mausoleum in here, so that's a good spot.
It is nice. It is nice. I love that place. So back here, this was this now it's like a huge parking lot back here for Paramount. They rent it out.
It's crew, basically. It's for crews. Film trucks and all that stuff. Craft services.
Whereabouts is where the cremate people?
It's at the front, right by Lana Clarkson. You'll see the exhaust pipe. Maybe you'll see it as we're going over towards that way.
So is it true that Mama Cass broke the thing?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a sad rumor. But
okay.
actually, where Cass was cremated was actually across the street, across Santa Monica Boulevard. It's going to be a draft or craft beer place when they ever open it. But that's where the old crematory was. It wasn't here. It was affiliated, but it was across the street. But Cass, they shut it down shortly after Mama Cass, who died in London, was cremated, but she didn't break the oven. That was just kind of a mean story somebody made up.
Okay. Got it.
Time to shoot by alfalfa.
Yes, we can do that real quick.
If there's nothing there.
Yes, we can. Over here by these 3 trees, the junipers. Look at the base.
Yeah, if you look down, you'll see Carl Alfalfa Switzer. That's Alfalfa from the Little Rascals. And the dog on there is not because of the Little Rascals, it's because he loved hunting, and he had hunting dogs. And his father's next to him, C. Fred Switzer, is the guy who invented that crazy weight loss thing that was like a big band that you
Oh, the
like got
vibrating
inside it. Yeah, it
shaky
shook the
one.
whole thing. Yeah, that's his dad.
No.
He was not a well-liked guy at all.
No.
In fact, it's like maybe 2 or 3 people I can think of that you just never hear a good story about, and he's one of them.
There's a guy that's buried in here. He's, I think he's not far from, I think he's in the middle there. His name was Bruce Silkey, and Bruce Silkey was like the first AIDS death that they buried in the cemetery. And they couldn't, none of the people that worked here would even bury him. They wouldn't even walk on top of his grave at that point because nobody knew how you're going to get it yet. So people were, paranoid, ultra paranoid, because it was a disease nobody knew anything about.
Right.
So it was a really weird thing. But poor Bruce, they had a hard time finding someone who would even bury him.
And I don't think we know really what the story with the pyramid is. Who lived or what?
No. A lot of people say it's Nicolas Cage, but I don't think so, because he bought a grave in New Orleans that's a pyramid.
Yeah.
So, but the original owner who had that build bailed on it, and that's what I do know. But otherwise, any plans for it, I don't know.
Maybe it's for contacting UFOs.
Oh, that's the Titanic guy's in that one.
Yeah,
the
boom.
Ross Clark one there on the right.
Which one?
The Ross.
Oh
Clark
yeah,
one,
J. Ross Clark.
Yeah.
And if you bring a flashlight with you and shoot it through that glass, you can actually see it says that he was on the Titanic on his.
Does it say Lost on the Titanic?
Yeah, Lost on the Titanic.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna zip out of here and go see some cool places.
Right on. We didn't get yelled at.
Didn't get busted.
No,
Yeah.
surprise. Steer clear of the front gates, and we're usually pretty good.
Isn't Darla from the Little Rascals here?
She is?
Yeah, she's over there where the Judy Garland.
Oh.
She's in that.
So Jordan, you were saying that they don't like you filming here?
Yeah, I've gotten chased out of here many times.
Really?
Yeah, I guess they're okay with photos, but they're not okay with filming. The only, and even one time it was, I was coming in to do the Valentino Memorial, and I was just walking down one of those streets doing a selfie thing. A couple of minutes later, they chased over and they're like, you can't film in the cemetery, but if you're going to the memorial, you can do it over there. So I was like, so now I'm just more coy about how I do it, and I do it anyway. Because their thing is they say it like they think it's disrespectful. I'm like, all the other shit that they have going on here, and that's the, like, yeah, it's like
you're just not paying.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I'm like, I'm trying to help people remember where they are. So
Yeah.
it's like,
The cemetery used to be, well, it was a lot, it was underdeveloped. And they had to make maximum use of space. So, like, the cemetery, the way it looked 25 years ago is very different. A lot of the roads have been taken out, and they sold the roads, and they're now graves. If you look here on our left, you see this row of palm trees. That used to be roadside palm trees. But they've literally taken the roads out, and people are buried on it now. So if you look really closely, you can see the old shape of the cemetery with the roads. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there used to be a road in front of that whole row of mausoleums you used to be able to drive past too. But yeah, they've taken out roads and they're selling the land. I think this looks like there might have been another one here. But it's just, yeah, this used to be a road you could see kind of straight through. So if you look at the way the trees are designed, originally they would hug the roads, and they're just not there anymore.
at some point they're just going to be stacking people on top of each other. You can tell the way that they're laid out now. It's just, this is kind of the way Père Lachaise was in France. If you don't know where you're looking, you'll never find the people because there's just so many people so close together.
Now you're talking about the crematorium. If you look across there, you see what that wooden fence is?
Yeah.
It's like right there. Look for the smokestack. You might have to look through the trees, but you'll see a smokestack, and that's where the crematory is now. Maybe when these trees clear, you'll see it.
That surprises me. I didn't know that they had that on site, to be honest, because that's where the bathrooms are.
Yeah,
I've never noticed.
that's what, when they got the license to do that, that's what made the cemetery a one-stop shop. Once you die, you're brought here. They have their own hearse, they have their own crematory, they have their own embalming. So once you die, you never have to leave. Before then, they used to have to take them off site.
Yeah, I applied to be a mortuary assistant.
Did you?
Like 15 years ago, and they didn't want me.
Yeah, they're a bit fussy.
Darla Hood is buried inside of here from the Little Rascals.
There's Judy,
Yep.
straight in.
Judy Garland.
So look at the wall, straight back, directly straight back, and there she is.
Right in the center.
So if you're outside when they're, burning somewhere or whatever, can you smell it from the outside?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, there's really, really strict laws about it. There's no smoke. If you look really closely, you can see the little heat waves, the little wiggly lines, like when the roads are really hot. But no, no. 'Cause
Okay.
the neighbor wouldn't stand for it. Anyone sees smoke coming from a cemetery, they smell meat burning or something. No, that wouldn't be good.
Okay.
Sorry, you guys.
When was this cemetery opened?
Guys, 120. It was 125 years, I think, or 126 years ago. So whatever that works out to be, I don't know exactly. I think 18 something, late 1800s. Now, as I said, the cemetery used to be twice as big as it is right now. In the early 19-teens, the cemetery was sold off to Paramount. So the property line is where this gray building ends. And then all this business to the right is now, well, this part of it is RKO, but this all used to be cemetery property. And but they sold off the land.
And as you can see, Dr. Phil and the doctors are filmed there. They used to film Star Trek The Next Generation and all that stuff there. You can see it says Leonard Nimoy Way right there on stage 29.
Did they have to relocate those bodies?
They were supposed to. You know, you find cemeteries nowadays that are doing that.
And there's the Lucy entrance, I call it, because there's a famous picture when they had steps there of Lucy and Desi walking out of there when it was. This part was Desi Lou, eventually.
So Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz took the profits from I Love Lucy and bought the studio. So they
Which
didn't
used
shoot
to
I Love
be
Lucy.
RKO and all that stuff before. There's the RKO tower right up there. Right over here, I worked on one Nickelodeon show one day and found out that was the stage that Happy Days was filmed on. Really surprised me later when I was doing the Heather O'Rourke vlog and read that they said that Heather O'Rourke supposedly haunted that stage. Because she was, if you remember, she was the daughter of Fonzie's girlfriend towards the end of the series. So she was in, like, 12 episodes, they said,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
the RKO Globe, and if you're familiar, like I know it mostly, that's how I got exposed to it, was from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. When Frank comes out and he's standing on the globe and there's a tower with the beeping, RKO radio picture. That was their logo. Well, all that's left of that logo on the building is the globe at the top of the building up here. So you kind of lean over to look, but look at the far end of this building, at the very roof of it. I'll make this right-hand turn, actually. Look up to your left at the corner, and there's the old RKO Globe still up at the top of that building.
And you can see where they took the tower down. There's
Yeah.
still the like markings up there. That's the real history.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, that's the cool stuff that's still around. That nobody knows about. You know, they just think how many people drive past that every day and go, I wonder why that globe's up there.
Yeah.
I did for probably 15 years before I figured out what it was.